school and they move on. There's the turnover. Do you think that's affecting the quality of what the kids are getting out of sports?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think a lack of resources is a problem for most sports programs or physical education programs in high poverty communities. I think that lack of resources for teachers and after school programs and town and city programs leads to a deterioration in the quality of the program. And it also, I think, leads to kids not taking the program as seriously, not valuing the program as much because they don't see anybody else valuing it. So I think that it's important to not just have opportunities for those who can afford the big fees available, but I think it's important to show every child every day that moving their body is good for them and it's important. It creates opportunities. It gives them things that very few other things provide, and that it should be valued by everybody across the board, whether it's in school, out of school, at home, in the workplace. I mean, we were not designed to sit still, and we need to bring movement and activity back to the center of what kids get.
Yeah, and I think, again, looking at some of the other talking points, you talk about how at some point only the most talented kids are allowed to play, which is preceded by the kids who are given the most opportunity to play, which may have been prompted by, again, having either the time to get to all these events or the money to pay for them. And you worry that this is, and I see this at some club levels, where there are kids that are clearly talented enough to be there, but they're not happy while they're there. They would rather be playing in their driveway, almost just as competitively, just as hard, but there is no team so they have to go to these travel scenarios because that's the only place they can get it. And I worry about rec, that it is under siege from club teams. And my kids are on club teams, and I like the club teams. They do a lot for building my kids, but when I go to these tournaments, I just have a hard time believing all of these kids really want to be traveling to play ball, and that all of their parents are okay with it. It's not creating some other stress that while they might be getting, even if it was all paid for, all donated, just to have to go to traveling, and the tension, is that another side effect a side effect of the pay-per-play?
It definitely is. I think one of the big issues that we have as a society is that opportunities for recreational play are disappearing. I always think about it the way that I think about it for myself as an adult, right? I work full time. I have 4 kids. I don't have time to be part of some, very intensive, time-consuming program. So I hike and I run and I take yoga classes, but I give myself permission to dabble in a whole bunch of different things, not necessarily be all in anything. And that works for me, but we're not allowing children to do the same. Why can't a kid play different sport every season? Why can't they play non-competitively in a fun rec league that's down the street from their house? Why do they have to commit to a level of intensity that not all kids want? And that, I think, is a problem that we have to solve, that stems across the board from high poverty communities to more affluent communities. This pressure to achieve all the time isn't necessary when it comes to moving your body. We all need activity at some level, whether it's intense or whether it's walking around the park. it's important for everyone, no matter what your level of competitiveness is.
Absolutely. Now, we've got about 10 minutes left, and there was one post you had about there is, people say there's no I in team. You talk about how you learned part of where there is an I from your view from 5 feet high as a hurdler. And could you talk about where the I in team is, which is a good thing in this case?
Well, I think, I have found that that it's really important to have a common goal when you're working on a team, and that's something that we emphasize here at Good Sports all the time, that we all know what the big goals are we're working toward. We know how much equipment we're trying to distribute. We know how many kids we're trying to touch. We know what we're trying to accomplish. But at the same time, everybody in our organization, from staff to board members to external partners, they all have a job to do to help us get to that goal. And those jobs are not the same, and they're not necessarily overlapping. And I think that the collective goal is the bullseye, but to get there, everybody on the team has to be an independent contributor. They've got to do their job, and they've got to do it really well so that the whole team can succeed. And I think that you have to be careful especially as you're building an organization, not to get too caught up in emphasizing group decision making and always trying to build consensus and always trying to make everybody happy. There have definitely been times in the last 15 years that the decision that we made as an organization is not what everybody in the group thought was the right decision. But we have to promote what we're trying to accomplish, where we're trying to go, and not get caught up in everybody being a part of that every process. And I think that's where the independent thinking and the contributing to the common goal and creating that accountability that everybody has to do their part. Everybody's job contributes to the whole.
And there is, the creative part about sports, again, we talk about form and method and discipline, and those are all important when they're important, but without having some creative component to it to make every event yours, that's just not what human beings need. We need activity, but it's got to be something that you connect with, and there has to be creativity, and that has to be through the individual, including doing those little bitty things that nobody else wants to do that make up a great team. Not everyone is meant to do the little things. That was actually what I did, because I didn't have the upper talent. So whatever the dirty jobs were, I said, I can do that. And that's what, and I thought of ways to do that. And it was for the team, but it was something that was mine. And the fact I'm talking about it, 40 years later, it was something that helped me develop my independence and my self-worth while serving a team. But you're right, you don't sacrifice your individualness for the team. I used to say that, well, there's no I, but there is a me, in there, which is why your article really stuck with me, because it is important what the individual gets out of a team. And are there any? I know you work with the organizations. Do you get to see some of the kids up close and get to see some of those individuals when you're equipping their program?
Oh, yes, absolutely. We do a lot of donation events out in the community, both directly and also with our partners. And at every single one of them, we host play days, and we play games with the kids, and we have the opportunity to give them their new gear. And so I get to meet a lot of kids, and they tell me their stories, and I get to hand them equipment and see the impact that the equipment has on them. It's probably my favorite part of the job.
Oh, I'm sure it is. And is there a story that comes to mind as you were just saying that you'd like to share?
There are so many, but I'll share one that's fairly recent. last year we were doing a donation event with one of our partners, and we were distributing play packs, and they were backpacks with a pair of shoes, a pair of sneakers, a ball, a t-shirt, socks, a hat, a water bottle, a little bit of everything for kids at a school in LA. And while the employees of our partner were packing all of the equipment, we were also running a play day. So we had the kids from the school coming out and participating in the play day, and then they would go pick up their play pack before they went back to school. And there was a little third grade boy who saw all of the equipment getting packed up while he was part of the play day. And I was over helping out with the play day at the time. And he came up to me and he said, Miss Melissa, is all of this equipment for us? And I said, well, yes. I said, a lot of it is for you. And I said, it's also for some other organizations around the city. We're, making a lot of big donations today to a lot of organizations and kids. And he said, is it all new? And I said, yeah, buddy, this is all new equipment. And he said, the sneakers don't have any rips in them? And I said, no, buddy, we're going to give you your first brand new pair of sneakers. And you could tell that meant so much to him, that he had never had a pair of sneakers that had ripped before, that didn't have a rip in them before.
Yeah, it's not about having the top gear. It's about necessities. Mm-hmm. And it's not about sports. It's the necessity of that security, that you've got something that wasn't a cast-off, that was intended for you. Somebody was looking out for you, not just saying, well, I don't want this, but you can have it. That's really powerful.
Yeah, he you could tell that he felt that day that there was, people who cared. And that is what sports do. From the coaches to the PE teachers to the companies and donors that help get that gear into kids' hands, they're all sending a message to a kid in any one of the organizations that we donate to, that we care and that they matter, and giving them a chance to play matters.
It really does. And that word play, it's finally coming back as something important and not frivolous and without focus and not serious and not productive, that we all need to play. It's really what rejuvenates us and lets us accomplish things. So we've only got a couple minutes left here, Melissa. The time always flies by, but please do tell people again how to get in contact with you one more time, and if there are any areas that you're beginning to focus on geographically, so that people can, again, begin to take notice and donate and partner with you.
Absolutely. You can find information about Good Sports at www.goodsports.org. That's our website. And one of the things that you'll see there right on the front page is an initiative that we recently launched called Equip a Kid. And it allows a donor to go through and look at 7 different sports and the top pieces of equipment that we get asked for every year. And they can literally buy a piece of equipment for a kid in need. You can pick out what item you want to buy. You can pick out how many you want to buy. And that donation comes directly to Good Sports. And we use all of the money that's raised through the Equip a Kid program to buy those pieces of equipment and get them back out to kids who need them. So that's a great way for people to help anywhere in the country. And it's a very tangible way. You're literally putting a ball in a kid's hands. Excellent.
Well, again, Melissa, as soon as I saw your organization, it wasn't just the name, but it was the posts, what you write about. It's not just genuine and passionate, but it's the type of stuff that it's so simple that it helps. I know it's easier said than done. It's a lot of hard work you all do, but just simply getting a ball and a pair of shoes in a kid's hands can really make a difference.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, and thank you. And everyone, again, thank you for listening tonight. And again, that was Melissa with Good Sports, goodspots.org. Thanks a lot, everyone.
Done a dirty